In several of my previous videos, which I'll link above, I explored using a touchscreen monitor mounted onto the Alpha Yoke by Honeycomb. These compact monitors are a great place to display instruments from the simulator and using Air Manager panels. And the Knobster mounted on the side allows for easy use of dials in the panels. Check out my previous videos for lots of information about Knobster. As I mentioned on my previous video, it's going to look into mounting an identical monitor onto the Honeycomb Bravo Throttle Quadrant and using the Stay Level Avionics mounting bracket. Now, instead of squeezing all the instruments onto a single monitor, the instruments can be sized almost life-size and allowing much more room, and also not duplicating any of the switches that are available on the Alpha and Bravo. Now in this case, I've mounted the on top of the throttle quadrant the second monitor, which I can put navigation instruments on. You can see I'm using X-Plane here, so I've popped out the windows for the G530 and 430 and placed a template over them made in Air Manager so that I have touch control. You can see that the cursor and selection knob is yellow, meaning that that knob will respond to any inputs from the Knobster. You can see it's very responsive to touch, and making it almost full size makes it very easy to touch the buttons with your finger. Of course, the Knobster allows inputs on all the dials, and especially useful for dials that have outer and inner knobs and a push button function. After using this setup for a short while, it's become apparent that all the additional control functions that are on the Alpha and Bravo make this a great complement. And you can pretty much put all the other instruments that you need for a cockpit on these two monitors. Also, after almost a month using the WiMAXit 15.6-inch touch monitors, I can say that they are really the best I've used so far. Very responsive, and I love the glass finish from edge to edge. I do need to say that using FS 2020, a Microsoft Flight Simulator, does not support all the functions needed to create these bezels yet, so that is a limitation. Hopefully that'll be overcome in the future with an update of the SDK. Here I am demoing in X-Plane because the SDK for FS 2020 is not quite mature enough to allow all the events needed to create those bezels. Also, I've popped in the G5s from the pay instruments from Sim Innovations into this panel, and they make a really nice upgrade for the to replace the analogs. A few people have asked why I'm not using the 3-monitor sim that I have with the 2-monitor panel. That's a separate simulator. This is a simulator I use mostly for VR, but when FS 2020 came out, I wanted a place to explore that without disrupting my main sim. That sim also has virtual fly controls that are mounted permanently into the sim. So this was a great platform to test out the Honeycomb stuff and also to experiment with these multiple monitor brackets and setups. I will caution anyone who's considering a setup like this that it requires 2 graphics ports for the touch monitors, and if you're going to use a 3-monitor visual, you need 3 more ports. So that does require you to have 5 ports, and most video cards can't support that. Unfortunately, FS 2020 does not support using multiple computers networked, but X-Plane does. Hopefully, Flight Simulator will add that functionality shortly, but it seems like we say that about more and more features each day. Time will tell. Now the next thing I'd like to show you is a little more advanced panel made to mount on the Bravo Throttle Quadrant and the Alpha Yoke from Honeycomb. I have a 737NG for the Zibo B737. I tried to take all the most needed instruments except for the overhead panel, which is available also from Sim Innovations. The displays are popped out from the simulator using a program called X Texture Extractor. You can also use ZHSI with the Zibo. And these instruments are made specifically for X-plane in the Zibo. They could be modified, and I'm going to try to make them a community project here in the near future. Although there's quite a bit crammed into a small monitor, it's still fairly easy to operate using your fingers. Even the guarded switches can be opened and operated, as you can see. Almost all the switches operate like in the actual aircraft. You can see the trim indicator trims just like in the aircraft. Tried to lay out the switches in approximately the same relative positions as in the aircraft. Some of the functions like the parking brake is just a touch. And then some like the start switches, you see I'll touch them and it highlights green and pull down, because in the real airplane you have to pull it out first and then pull it down, and this simulates that. The radio controls, which are kind of difficult to use with the finger tracking or also with a mouse, can use a knobster, and they're easy to operate that way. Also, the minimums set here, setting the baro with a knobster, I can turn that outer dial to baro, and then set the inner decision altitude for the baro using the knobster. You can even quite realistically drag and hold the autopilot warning test switch and drag the light test switch up to the light test position and leave it there and then reset it. Now, those of you who followed my channel for a while know I completed these Zibo instruments, almost a year ago, I think, and there was some discussion with the guys at Sim Innovations. They wanted to include them as a pay panel, but they also wanted to produce the displays in-house so they would be totally independent of any popped out windows. They thought this was a little too complicated for a paid instrument that they would need to support. So I've made the decision to just go ahead and release these instruments as part of a free package that I'm hoping we can develop a community around, and some people can modify them, try using the ZHSI and other options, and hopefully we can build this up. And then as FS 2020 becomes more and more capable, hopefully we can develop some of this same panel into compatibility with some other 737s that are available. So that's the plan. Please subscribe to the channel and stay aware of what I'm doing. If you're interested in that, you can also send me comments. What I'd like to do is get these out soon. So as soon as I figure out a way to post them, I will be posting a CIF file, which is the Sim Innovations instrument format file that you'll be able to import right into Air Manager and get not only the instruments but the panels laid out. And then if you want to make a complete cockpit, you can purchase the overhead panel that I made and gave to Sim Innovations, and they're selling that for a modest fee. I would appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, comment, and share this with your friends. Also, I've noticed from the analytics that about 75% of my views are from non-subscribers. So I would appreciate it if you're watching my videos that you would subscribe so that I could increase my subscription count. I'm trying to avoid putting ads on, but I'm finding out that YouTube favors the channels that have ads because they make revenue from that, and they're also talking about adding ads to all the videos that are posted in the future. So we'll see how that works out. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.